I look at the 3 different outfits that I brought with me, and I just can't decide which one is the best for today, darn it. It's a big day after all. I finally made it to Flushing, Terra. Woo! I wasn't sure I would make it, but I did. I still can't decide. I guess I will start with some accessories. I open my box of bows, and yes, I think the lavender one with the teal sparkles will work. That means that I will go with the lavender dress with the flowers. There! The bow looks pooping perfect. Now just a little sprinkle of glitter on my face. Not too much. I don't want to look slutty or anything. I look in the mirror in my little cabin and, well, that's going to have to do it. I pack up my stuff and take a deep breath and step outside. All the guys are there waiting for me. They looked pretty scary when I first hopped onto their freighter, but it turns out that they are all great guys. I sure was lucky after those other jerk faces. I had to zap them. Bet they weren't expecting that. I guess this is it, huh? Borch says and gave me a big furry hug. He gives the absolute best hugs. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss them all, actually. Yeah, I say, trying not to tear up scum. I'm really going to miss these guys. Too bad you can't stay on with us. You make a good deckhand. We'd keep you except for, you know, Captain Hollister says as he gave me a big, squeezy human hug. Humans are every bit as strong as they look. We got you something for you. Hope it doesn't come in handy. He then gives me a little gift-wrapped box covered in glitter. You guys, I say, starting to choke up a little. You didn't have to do that. I open the box, and holy waters of the eternal pond. It's a pistol, a real live Terran pistol. It's so tiny. This is a .32 ACP. You won't be knocking over any banks with it, but it's light and comfortable enough to keep on you all the time. Just a little something to remember us by. It's a double-action only semi-automatic. I know you already know how to use it. Oh, scum! This is too much. I start to cry. I didn't want to do that. Oh, it's perfect, I gush, and I mean it too. It's just perfect. It fits my pads perfectly. It's perfect. We had to pay extra for the pink grips, Clyde says as he grins underneath his beard. I throw my arms around him and give him a huge hug. I'm going to miss you, little frog, he says as he hugs me back. Hope you have a great life here. Oh, I know I will, I say with a little squeak. I squeaked. Pond scum. I hate it when I squeak. Well, this ain't going to get any easier, Captain Hollister said. Come on, let me help you with your bags. I look back at the guys and wave, trying not to tear up too much. They have been just great. I couldn't ask for a better crew to crash with. Well, I guess there is no sense in lingering. Terra is just on the other side of the cargo doors. Agent Closton was walking along the docking bays with his tablet and George his K9. The bloodhound trotted alongside, wagging his tail. He had a powerful scanner, of course, but old George would occasionally pick up on something that he missed. Unlike dogs trained to find chemical and biological weapons, or other contraband, not that there is a whole lot illegal on Terra, George was trained to find the weird stuff. Old George got a workout most days. Agent Closton looked at his tablet. We have Hollister in Base 6. Let's start there, George, he said as George looked up at him happily. Closton looked down at the dog and smiled. Come on, there is no telling what that bastard has this time. Bet you find something weird. Let's go. George, sensing upcoming fun, started bouncing about. Hollister was a porky, but you wouldn't know it. He was good people, even if he did sometimes try to sneak things past customs. Then again, that did make him seem at least a little Terran. He and George entered Docking Bay 6, and there was Hollister, and standing right beside him was something. She was wearing a long, old-fashioned-looking dress and a huge, sparkly bow on the top of her head and had a comically large handbag. She was clutching a single suitcase that actually looked like an old-fashioned suitcase. George immediately took an interest. A new species, definitely something weird. "Morning, Hollister," Agent Closton said, cocking an eye stalk at the strange alien. "What do you have for me today?" "Hey, Agent Closton. Great to see you again," Captain Hollister said with a smile. "Just some assorted consumer goods for the discriminating Federation expat and one passenger. This is Shaloran, a Plath, and she hitched a ride with us and is looking to enter the Republic." "Hi," the little Plath said in a timid voice. "Nice to meet you. May the waters grant you good fortune," she said with a nervous-looking smile. Thanks, Agent Colston said, wiggling his eye stalks in the Kalesh equivalent of a smile, and then turned his attention to Hollister. No unregistered produce, potentially invasive life forms, or exotic pets this time? Hell no! Not after the hurting you bastards put on me last time. I damn near had to hock my ship. Hollister laughed. I thought you Terrans were supposed to be laid back. Well, we are. Except when we aren't. Agent Colston laughed and cocked an eye stalk toward Shaloran. So what has a nice person like you running with these criminals? Well, Shaloran started when Captain Hollister cut her off. Oh, she was a little light on the funds, so we let her work for her passage. She can wax the hell out of a deck plate, Hollister said while shooting Shaloran a meaningful glance. Agent Colston said with a suspicious flick of his eye stalks as he watched Shaloran fidget nervously. I see. Well, let's get you processed. Come this way, please. Hollister, you are going to have to wait. Agent Colston led Shaloran off to an interview room and sat behind a desk. All right, let's get you set up, Agent Colston said with a wiggle of his eye stalks. We like to interview people who arrive through non-standard methods a little more closely, but this shouldn't take too long. Just relax and answer the questions truthfully and to the best of your abilities. Okay, Shaloran smiled nervously. Normally, people who arrive in the back of freighters aren't just visiting. Am I correct in assuming that you wish to take up residence in the Republic, perhaps become a citizen? Oh, yes, please, Shaloran said with a big smile. I've always wanted to come here. Good call. The Republic is a fantastic place to live and work. We definitely need more residents. The more the merrier, Agent Colston said as he started to type on his computer. Are you interested in citizenship, or do you just want permanent resident status? I would like to become a citizen, please. Another good call. Now, first off, do you have any weapons on you? If so, please put them on the desk. Shaloran pulled out her skull splitter from her handbag, a bright purple plastic pistol decorated with flower petals in clear resin that had a scorched and melted barrel from her waistband, and her brand-new .32. Agent Colston's eyes widened in surprise. He definitely did not expect the splitter, or the pistol, or what was definitely a zapper, an illegally modified Federation stunner. 1 second, he said pleasantly as he picked up a telephone. After a brief pause, he said, Chief, I think you want to come down here. I think we have a good one. His suspicions were confirmed as Shaloran shifted uncomfortably in her seat. He knew a good one when he saw one. In his job, he had gotten good at spotting the interesting cases, and he bet this was going to be good. Is everything okay? Shaloran asked nervously. Oh, of course, he fibbed. Nothing to worry about, just a formality. It didn't take long for the chief to arrive, his eye stalks glittering with anticipation. When Colston said he had a good one, he usually had a good one. He took one look at the little plath and then at the table, and he just couldn't wait for this one. Hello, I'm Chief Zireln. I run this little patch of insanity. And you are? Shaloran. My name is Shaloran. And what species are you exactly? I haven't seen one of you come through here. I'm a plath, she said nervously as she fidgeted. Interesting. I always like meeting a new species, he said as he entered plath on his tablet. Wow, you are certainly a long way from home, aren't you? Yeah, she said in a small, quiet voice. So what brings you to the Republic? The chief asked. I want to come and live here. Any reason why? I always wanted to come to the Terran Republic, she said in a tiny little voice as she looked away. Any reason in particular that encouraged you to leave your home, a definitely non-plath move, travel across the known galaxy in the back of a freighter full of suspicious characters, and show up here today? They aren't suspicious characters, Shaloran said, regaining her confidence. They are actually really nice guys. And you are actually really deflecting my question, the chief said, almost shaking with anticipation. This was about to get really good. Any reason like, oh, I don't know, something like being a fugitive? Shaloran just fell silent and looked down. Ah, the chief said as Colston started typing again. A fugitive from justice, or what passes for Federation justice anyway. The chief looked at her with sympathetic eyes. It's okay. We get a lot of Federation fugitives, and it doesn't necessarily mean you can't come in, but you need to tell us the truth from now on, okay? Shaloran just nodded. The chief pulled out a scanner and passed it over the splitter and let out a low whistle. This skull splitter is the real deal. Human bone and everything. How in blazes did you get this? That's a really funny story, Shaloran said, perking up a bit. I worked in a bank back home and it got robbed by real live Terrans. One of them was a Martian and mailed it to me later on, along with a copy of Federation Fun Time. A bank robbery in this day and age? Yeah. They cleaned out our local buffer and then accessed the Federation banking system and stole millions. We'll learn something new every day. I didn't know you could do that, the chief said, his eyes sparkling with joy. And we're off, he thought to himself. And the zapper? Oh, I made it, Shaloran said with pride. A bank teller made a zapper? Yep, Outland Bound has a fantastic crafting system. I just did it like I did in the game. You learned how to modify a stunner into a potentially lethal weapon from a computer game? The chief asked incredulously. You betcha, Shaloran said with pride, and then added sheepishly, I really like Terran computer games. She then brightened back up. I guess I don't have to keep that a secret now, she said happily. I absolutely love Terran computer games. Colston continued to type as he shook his head. This was new. I see, the chief said. I didn't peg you for a computer gamer. He then realized that his son played Outland Bound. Maybe he should look into that. Oh, I am. I play all the ones I can get my hands on, though that was hard back home. I bet, the chief said with a smile. Though I am willing to bet you aren't on the run over a computer game. Actually, I am, Shaloran said with a bit of annoyance. Well, that's what started the whole thing. Okay, I sense a story here. Just start from the beginning, the chief said with an expectant smile as Colston continued to type. Okay, Shaloran said, warming to the tale. It all started with that bank robbery. I told you that one of the robbers, probably a Martian because she had a splitter. It was a really nice one, too. Well, she found out thanks to my dummy of a friend. I love her, but sometimes I swear that we knew that it was a skull splitter and we played games, so after they left, she sent me the splitter and a cracked copy of Federation Fun Time with Species Master. Federation Fun Time? Oh, it's a bad one, Agent Colston interjected. It has a full 5 skull rating. 5 skull rating? The chief asked, completely confused. That means it is one of the worst, most violent, most completely messed up games ever written. I played it and it's pretty nasty. I returned it. It was just too much. The chief looked over at Shaloran. And you played it? Oh yes, it's the best. And with Species Master, I can play it as my own species. Shaloran gushed. They even say that the Species Master DLC was a move by Republic psyops to encourage violence in the Federation. You don't say, the chief said, as he idly moved the weapons out of Shaloran's reach. Okay, you got a copy of Federation Fun Time. Then what? Well, I traded copies for stuff, movies, other games, realm coins, you name it. Everybody wanted it. Realm coins? Oh, those are an in-game currency for Blue Pond, a Plath online game. You aren't supposed to buy or trade outside the game for them, but everybody does it. Okay, so we have software piracy. Not usually something to put someone on the run, unless your system is really strict or something. Nah, they were so clueless that they really didn't know how much of it was going on. At least at first. Oh? Okay. Here's what happened next, Shaloran said, getting angry. Some basement-dwelling butthole went on a shooting spree and killed like a dozen Plath. Never mind that he had real problems. Should have been in jail except his parents had some pull, and somehow got his grubby little pads on a Class 3 blaster. Oh, that didn't matter. They found a copy of Federation Fun Time on his computer, and everybody lost their pooping minds. He had a pooping game, so that was the problem. Shaloran huffed in annoyance. So anyway, like I said, everybody lost their pooping minds and were saying that the game was the reason he did it. Of course, the whole Republic psyops thing came up, and one mention of you Flushing guys, and it was Flushing pitchfork time. They started tracing the game back and actually started arresting people. They even got pooping. Federation intelligence involved, and the poo heads actually showed up. Everyone was looking for the evil monster who brought such horror to their perfect little world. That would be me, by the way. Shaloran ranted. They were even saying that when they caught the person responsible, that was me, that I was going to be charged as an accessory for all of those deaths, and they were even charging me with gross perversion and treason and poop. So, software piracy and now accessory to multiple plathicides, treason, and gross perversion? The chief asked, absolutely overjoyed. Oh, this was getting good. Shaloran was so mad she didn't even notice Agent Clauston typing up a storm. They were talking about locking up the treasonous pervert for life. Flush that! I didn't want to spend the rest of my Flushing life in a Flushing prison. It was time to get the poop out of there. Makes perfect sense. I would hit the road, too. So how did you escape? If Fed Intel was on the case, they would find you pretty quick. I ran pretty quick, Shaloran replied. I figured that booking passage on a passenger liner wouldn't be a good idea, like in grand theft vehicle. If you get a level 2 wanted rating or higher, you can't use a liner to escape a system. You have to go underground and bribe a freighter captain. So you based your escape on grand theft vehicle? The chief just squinted his eye stalks in amazement. Uh-huh, Shaloran replied. And it worked too. I see. Anything else? This story doesn't sound like it's over. Well, no, Shaloran responded. Well, I didn't have any pooping cash. I didn't have enough for a liner, and I certainly didn't have enough to bribe anyone. Here it comes, the chief said to Clauston. So what did you do? Well, I had just enough for a stunner. The chief was almost holding his breath in excitement. That one? He asked, pointing at the bright purple zapper. Well, yeah, but I hadn't hacked it yet. It was just a stunner. And what did you do with the stunner? I robbed a bank. You robbed a bank? Yeah, Shaloran said sheepishly. I kinda had to. It was the only way I knew how to get the pooping creds. I had to somehow get across the entire pooping federation, and that wasn't going to be cheap. No, I suppose not, the chief said, almost giggling. So, how did you do it? Well, I worked in a bank, so I knew how things worked, Shaloran said. So I picked a nice big branch in a city near a train stop, put on this huge bonnet that hid my face, and just walked in and asked to withdraw some creds from my account. Then what? Once the teller entered the password and fingerprint, pew! I hit her with the stunner. Then I spun around and pew-pew. I got the security guard and then pew. The bank manager got one. I then jumped over the counter and downloaded the entire pooping buffer and got the poop out of there. Then I took off the big-ass bonnet I was wearing and just walked to the train. Okay, so now we have armed robbery and an actual bank robbery, the chief exclaimed, absolutely beside himself with delight. I'm almost afraid to ask. How exactly did a bank teller pull off rapid-fire accurate shots like that? I assume the guard had a stunner. You had to hit the teller and then hit the guard before he could get a shot off. I had a friend in Slow-Mothu. It was the nearest city to where I lived, who had a pooping awesome VR rig. Oh, scum, it was nice. We would all hang out and game all weekend, especially when I showed up with Federation Fun Time. Of course, so how much did you grab? 238,000 credits. What? Damn. Armed robbery, bank robbery, and armed level 1 grand theft. When you decided to stray from the straight and narrow, you didn't fuck around, did you? I had to get gone. I figured that they were going to lock me up for life anyway, so why not pooping do it right? It's not like I killed anyone. Yet, the chief said as Shaloran fidgeted once again. He pointed to the zapper. It looks like that got some use. You aren't going to insult my intelligence and tell me it was target practice, are you? Well, Shaloran sighed heavily. Okay, it went like this. I was having to hang out in some really shady places, and I figured that a little stunner wouldn't cut it. Any armor at all would stop the little pooper I had, so I hacked it and jacked up the output and removed the stun modulator and replaced it with a charge emitter from a mini cooker, and presto, one zapper. I didn't know you could do it that way. Huh, learn something new every day. And you learned this from what? That game? Outland Bound, Shaloran said helpfully. And? Well, the first jump went okay. I found some Threen who had a little ship who were happy to get me a few systems over, and boy, was that a relief, she said. And then, problem. There were these 2 humans who said that they had a freighter and were heading to the Republic, and they wanted a pile of credits, but I had them, obviously. Shaloran laughed nervously. Anyway, I was supposed to meet them in a docking bay that night. When I got there, they were standing outside, and they started throwing off some bad ripples. They started asking all sorts of questions. Who I was. Why did I want to go to the Republic? How much money I had on me, that sort of thing. Thing is, it was dark, but I could see that there was nothing in the Flushing docking bay. These big anime eyes aren't just for Flushing show, you know? She fidgeted as she spoke. Anyway, I told them that I changed my mind, and one of them made a grab for me, and the other went for something. And pew, pew? The captain asked. Pew, pew. They both went down hard, and I got the poop out of there. Good call. So now we have software piracy, accessory to multiple plathsides, treason, gross perversion, armed robbery, bank robbery, armed level 1 theft, and 2 possible homicides. Shit, girl. Agent Clauston's keyboard was just merrily clattering away. After that, everybody was really nice to me, Shaloran said as she fidgeted. People offered to buy me drinks, started introducing me to people, actually helping me where before they wouldn't even talk to me. Makes perfect sense. Word travels fast in pits like those. After you threw down some electrons, you were legit. Yeah, just like in Grand Theft Vehicle. Anyway, that's when Captain Hollister walked up and offered me a ride. He seemed okay, so I climbed aboard, and that's how I got here. Well, that's a whole lot of crimes. I mean, we usually don't sweat the small stuff, but that isn't small stuff. That's big stuff. Shaloran looked like she was about to cry. But, hell, it was pure Federation bullshit that got the ball rolling, and frying a couple of porkies is actually a plus. Welcome to the Republic. Welcome, Agent Clausen said as he started a new form. Really? Shaloran asked in a squeaky voice. Really? Sounds like you will make one hell of a citizen, the chief said with a wiggle of his eye stalks. Just don't go robbing any banks, okay? Deal, Shaloran squeaked.